Hey, this is Kaylee Humphrey, two-time Olympic champion in bobsleigh.
Hey, this is Jonathan Simkin. I am the president of 604 Records.
Hey, I'm Sam Roberts.
Hi, I am Julia Budd, Bellator 145-pound, three-time world champion.
Hi, this is Thomas Adora, and I'm a sex and relationship guru.
Hey, what's up? This is John Humphrey, drummer for the rock band Seether.
Hey, I'm Kristen Renton.
Hey, this is Troy Licata from Tesla.
Hi, it's Captain Kirk McLean here, and you're listening to the Toddcast podcast.
COVID-19 has affected your life, no question. And if you hear somebody saying otherwise, they're lying. Once they find a vaccine, will things go back to normal? Will we have a new normal, maybe? The vast majority of people are expecting things to go back to normal or hoping, hanging on to normal. This week, American pro boxer Marlen Esparza is a guest. Her life was directly affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Her last fight was postponed, and so far, there hasn't been a rescheduled date. I did some digging to get her on the podcast, talked to Bianca at Bukaram PR Group. I'm hopefully saying that right. She set things up for us. Now, joining Marlen is Dr. Brooke Goldner, board certified, the author of 3 best-selling books, a great talk, also set up with Bianca. Big love to that team. A pleasure to work with. Don't you just wish that everything about your job was easy peasy? Coming up in just a few minutes in Stop Me If You've Heard This Before, the Trailer Park Boys talk about the superpowers that they would want to have. Brought to you by our buddies at ProTech Welding, Steel Fabrication in North Vancouver, Essential Services. Online at protechwelding.com. First, our first guest of 3. This week's musical guest is multiple Juno Award nominee Canadian bluesman David Gogo. Brought to you by the Railway Stage and Beer Cafe, 579 Dunsmuir, downtown Vancouver. And soon you'll be able to see live podcast shows there once again. And I, for one, cannot wait for that. David Gogo has been playing since the age of 5. Just a little tyke. Fast forward 10 years at 15, while at the Royal Theatre in Victoria. Now, he's from Nanaimo, so it was a quick little road trip up to see Stevie Ray Vaughan, who encouraged David to pursue the blues. A year later, by 16, David is now playing regular work. He's getting gigs as a musician. Impressive stuff. He formed a band called The Persuaders, opened up for just a ton of awesome bands like Johnny Winter, Buddy Guy. He talks about playing with B.B. King in the full interview. He's easily one of Canada's best bluesmen, a Maple Blues Award winner. You've seen him on tons of festivals over the years. He's toured relentlessly like a dog, supporting Juno-nominated albums, Western Canadian Music Award-nominated albums. And as you'll hear in the full conversation, which is now posted at our iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud pages, we're also part of the Dean Blundell Podcast Network at deanblundell.com. David is a super nice guy with a great sense of humor. Search us out through Toddcast Podcast. In the meantime, here's 10 minutes with David Gogo.
The Toddcast Podcast.
Let's go back to the beginning. This is before you're in any bands, before you're playing music on your own. What's the music in the Gogo house as a kid growing up? What are your parents playing you and stuff?
Well, it's funny. I come from a very musical family. I have a lot of cousins that play music, and they've been successful at that. But we never really saw each other that much when we were young. But my immediate family, like my mom and dad and stuff, like none of them play an instrument. But music was very strong in the house. My dad had a lot of cool records, and he played them really loud. That's the other thing I remember.
Good.
Like he cranked them, and the neighbors would get pissed off. But
nice.
I dug it. But it was everything from CCR and Hank Williams. But he had some blues records in there, too. He had some B.B. King and Canned Heat. I remember Taj Mahal and Otis Redding. So that's some really cool stuff, man.
That is cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not stuff that you would think a kid would gravitate towards. But do you think that it... Like, how much do you credit your dad and the collection of music that he was playing? How much do you credit him pushing you down the road you went down?
Well, it didn't really push it to me. It was just in my brain. And then when I was a kid, like 5 or 6 years old, I really dug Elvis, man. Like I saw Elvis on TV. He was still alive then, just barely,
Yeah.
And but I dug it. And then I got into the British bands, the British 60s rock bands. But then I realized when I'm listening to the Beatles and the Kinks and the Rolling Stones and the Who, I all of a sudden I realized, hold on, I can kind of hear some of that blues music in there.
Sure, big time.
So then I started going back to the blues records. So it was an interesting education for sure.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that Elvis is the first to really grab a hold of you then, or?
Absolutely, yeah. But the funny thing was, I never wanted to be a singer because of Elvis. I wanted to be a guitar player. Because the Elvis I saw, like with, especially younger Elvis, he always had a guitar on him.
Right.
And I was more excited about playing the guitar than singing. Obviously Elvis was much more of a singer than a guitar player, but it's just that visual, I think.
Mm-hmm. And over the years, you've had there's so many Best Guitarist nominations. You've won a couple times as well. Early influences, like who helped you down that path? And I know that you spent some time with Stevie Ray Vaughan. How much did he play a role into what you're doing today?
Well, he kind of brought it together for me as a focus to realize what I wanted to do. Because when I was, first starting to play in bands at like 13, 14 years old, I was really kind of a blues-based player. And a lot of these guys, had no idea what the blues was, Mm-hmm. So we played a mixture of kind of, it was a lot of, once again, the 60s rock stuff. But when Stevie came out, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's what I want to do, And he was kind of like the real, kind of brought the blues back alive. And I was lucky enough to meet him when I was 15 and hang out with him several times before he passed away. So, it was a real catalyst, and he was a real super nice guy as well, and was really encouraging.
And at 15, like that had to be such a huge meeting for you.
It was, and if I may plug myself here, I just started a podcast myself.
Oh, you did? Great. What's
it
called?
Yeah, it's called the David Gogo. It's called the Soul Bender Podcast, and we're only 2 episodes deep.
Okay.
But the first episode, I just talk about all my times hanging out with Stevie, like, when I first met him when I was 15 and sleeping on his hotel room floor in Victoria. It's just ridiculous. But
yeah,
he was just a super nice guy because he understood where I was coming from. He, as much as he worshipped Jimi Hendrix and Albert King and all those guys, all of a sudden this 15-year-old kid shows up and I had a hat like his and everything else. He just kind of looked at me, oh, wow. Yeah. I'm on the other side now.
No kidding, right? And what was your first concert that you attended? How old were you?
I was pretty young, but it was Johnny Cash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom and dad, we went over to Vancouver from Nanaimo. I believe it was the P&E Agrodome. And, yeah, Johnny Cash.
Wow. And how old were you for that?
I was probably like 9 or 10 years old,
okay,
I guess.
Pretty young.
And then it bit me, like I was, anytime anyone was playing in Nanaimo, I was trying to see them. I didn't really care what the genre was. I just wanted to go see live music.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you when you started to play guitar then?
Just a wee baby. I mean,
nice.
I wanted to play guitar, yeah. Like my parents, I remember them trying to buy me a guitar when I was about 5, and it was too big for me to, like, if I sat down and had it on my lap, the guitar was too big for me to see over it. so nice. They bought me a little ukulele just to kind of placate my desire. Although I never, learned how to play proper ukulele. It was something to hold.
Just size-wise, yeah. I'd mentioned the Best Guitarist nominations. You've won a couple over the years. I noticed on your Instagram page, Juno Loser, you put, which is funny. Which is funny.
I have 5 losses and 1 disqualification.
You have a how did you get a disqualification?
Well, it's so crazy. I mean, and the 5 losses. Could you imagine sitting there 5 different times and having to clap your hands and pretend you're not pissed off?
Yeah.
The disqualification was just some silly technicality, and but we kind of turned it around. We did the spin doctor thing, and just got the most publicity we could out of it because
sure.
They told us we were nominated, so we turned around and we book a showcase, we book our plane tickets. It was in Edmonton that year, and then we're told, oh no, actually you're not nominated. So we tried to make the best out of it, and at the time, we did so well with the spin doctor maneuver. I thought, oh God, I'll never be nominated again, but I have like probably 3 times since. So maybe they're just doing that to torture me. I don't know.
Right. It must feel good just to get the nomination in general, though, right?
Well, absolutely.
Sure.
Because when you've been at it for as long as I have, it validates things, and it makes you feel like, I'm still achieving things, and I'm still being recognized.
Yeah.
And my first nomination was probably in 94, and the last one was probably about 4 years ago. So you think, at least I know where all the good parties are.
Right. You stretched 30 years of nominations, man. That's pretty impressive.
It's crazy.
It's pretty
It's crazy.
impressive, yeah. All right, David, let's get outside of music for a sec. And, of course, what you're known for seems to be the time to binge watch right now. What's grabbing your attention for binge watching right now?
Well, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole because I was just kind of like having a couple bourbons last night and kind of depressed with everything falling apart. But it was music once again, So I what did I start with? I'm trying to remember where I started, but ended up going to Alejandro Escoveda, the Chuck Prophet. It was kind of funny, like everything was kind of linked. Oh, I started with Van Morrison with the Chieftain, so I was trying to get that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like when Van he gets a blues thing out of the Irish music,
right?
And that went to Richard Thompson, then to Richard and Linda Thompson, and somehow Alejandro Escoveda, and then to Chuck Prophet. So, yeah, that took a couple hours.
Yeah, that kind of gets to be a bit of a slippery slope, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a big sports guy? Is it killing you to not be able to watch the Canucks?
I'm a big hockey fan, but I'm a Habs boy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And yeah, that's the other thing. I bought the goddamn NHL Center Ice package.
Yeah, right. Ditto. It's like, what?
Is there any refunds coming from that or what?
I don't know. I think there must be.
Yeah.
There has to be something coming. Yeah.
But I'm just a hockey fan in general.
Yeah, same. I mean, ultimately, once the Canucks are out, if they're going for the cup and they're in the playoff run, once they're gone, I just want it to be a Canadian team. And it doesn't, there are a lot of people are like, well, there's more Canadians on whatever the LA Kings or whatever the team is. It's like, well, no, I want it to be a Canadian city team, though. It's been too long.
I have had a bit of a connection with the Canucks over the years, just because I live out here. So I've done a couple charity things. A year or so ago, they flew me up to do the Canucks Autism Network fundraiser. In fact, I've done 2 of those.
Okay.
So it's cool, we get to hang out with Kirk McLean and have a drink with him and hang out. He's a big music fan. Well, he is a beauty.
He is a beauty, man. He came by the studio a couple of years back. And I bet you after we did, I was like, dude, I'll need maybe same as I told you, maybe 15, 20 minutes. We probably talked for about 45. And then he was like, hey, you used to be the afternoon guy at CFox, eh? And I was like, yeah, and I did the indie music director as well. Oh, no way. We sat around probably 4 hours after the interview. I was like, dude, you got to hear this band. Let me play this band. I kept playing them tune after tune and just drinking beers. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
He's a
he's a cool guy. He's a big music fan. So, and to be up there with those guys, and I'm sitting having dinner, and Coach Green's across from me, and Elliot Friedman's beside me. So, you get to know those guys, and they're nice cats.
Yeah, totally. That's very cool. Did you get into comic books as a kid? Are you enjoying all the superhero movies that are coming out lately?
No, I got to admit, I didn't. Like when I was a kid, I'm into humor a lot more. So I used to read the old National Lampoon magazines.
Great.
Listen to Steve Martin records, and that's kind of the direction I took.
Musical guests of the Toddcast podcast are powered by the Railway Stage and Beer Cafe. Check them out at 579 Dunsmuir, downtown Vancouver.
Swallowed my cellular phone, took a little water coming, I'm getting money all now. Before they change their minds, someone let me get it right. One time, Lord, I'm ready. Take my body, I'm coming home. Lord, I'm ready. Take my body, I'm coming home. Been walking on a long road. Yeah, a couple things have lost their shine. Hell, I only got one regret, and that is that I never made you mine. And I had no reason why I should stop. It was just pleasing me, so why not? Filling up the gas again, falling in love fast again. And I said I wouldn't do it, but it's not your fault that I'm slow to heal. But I swim the waterfall to show you just how I feel. Lord, I'm ready. Take my body, I'm coming home. Lord, I'm ready. Take my body, I'm coming home. Dancing with those demons while I'm reaching for it. Honey, your eyes of love meet me above the fire and rain. Oh, and change it comes around when I find myself in your shoes. But I've been so afraid to show you, like my soul might fly away. I've been dancing with those demons, but I'm reaching for it. Honey, your eyes of love meet me above the fire and rain. Oh, and change it comes around when I find myself in your shoes. But I've been so afraid to show ya, like my soul might fly away. Like my soul might fly away.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
Who would have thought that the Trailer Park Boys would become a cult-like phenomenon, a mockumentary about trailer park residents living in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia? Remember when Jonathan Torrens was a guest? He plays J-Rock. We talked about how the show was initially panned by critics out of the gate.
It's crazy. I have been well documented as saying every 6 months since it started, I've thought, well, that's got to be that then. And it just continues to find new audiences in new corners of the world. I mean, you have to understand, the first year that we did the show, it was so fun, but I remember thinking, no one's going to watch this. And when it came out, it got the worst review in the Globe and Mail.
And now you see the Trailer Park Boys everywhere. The series, the movies, the specials, the animated series. And then they called up to be a guest. We talked about binge-watching Vikings and BoJack Horseman. We all remembered our first concerts, and they shared some thoughts on the stuff that they've done with the Tragically Hip over the years. We talked about marijuana's legalization and the power of social media. And stop me if you've heard this before. The boys talked about the superpowers that they would want to have.
Running.
Like the Flash?
Yeah, I'd like to run fast.
Ricky, why would that be your fucking superpower?
I guess flying would be cool, but everybody can do that.
No one.
Hey, why not just be Superman? That guy can fucking do anything.
Or Spiderweb.
He's getting banged. He's like Superman.
Spiderweb, man.
Spider-Man.
My superpower would be that I could invent any superpower I wanted.
That's not fair, man.
Doesn't matter.
I like to be able to see through clothes.
Yeah, but then you'd like to be a super pervert. Super perv. I can look through clothes.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by ProTech Welding, a CWB certified steel fabrication shop in North Vancouver, and online at protechwelding.com.
You guys know Wu-Tang? Anybody know Method Man? So this is Bring the Pain. Bring the pain, the hardcore from the brain. Let's go inside my astral plane to find out my methods based on instrumental. The methods, hey, so I can write the monumental. The methods, I'm not the king. For suckers is decaf, for sticking for the cream. Check it, just how deep can shit get? Deep is the abyss, and brothers is mad fish. Accept it, and you cross color clothes, you crossed over, then got totally crossed and crisscross. I'm the boss, suckers get tossed to the side, and on the dark side of the force is the method. Man from the Wu-Tang Clan, and I'll be hectic, so come up for your headpiece, protected. You fuck it, 2 tears in a bucket. You suckers want the ruckus, you're busting to me, brown, I'm busted. Styles it gets buck wild, Method Man on some shit. You're pulling suckers files, I'm sick, insane, crazy, driving Miss Daisy at your freaking mind because I got mine. I'm crazy, and if it's real, son, if it's really real, son, let me know it's real, son, if it's really real. Something I can kill, son, load it up and kill one, want a raw deal, son, if it's really real. And when I listen with the stereo, I listen to some trivia. I always wondered when I'm be the number one. And now you listen to the Gargon. Hey, yeah, that's the Gargon summary. And any man that come test me, we gonna lick out them brains. You say you wanna hang with the meth, you bring a rope. The only way to hang is by your neck, you sucker poke off the set. And coming to your projects, taking is a fed or better, yeah, it's a promise. Take it from a vet or some old Vietnam shit. Sucker, you can bet your bottom dollar, hey, I bomb shit. And it's gonna get even worse when the gun is the world coming through. Stick is fucking for your gun. Moving on your left, yes, the meth came to represent and call my name in your chest. Or you could come test, realize you're no contest. So I'm not gonna want the old Wild West. Quick on the draw with the nines on the floor. 9-3-11 with the rugged rhymes galore. Check it cause I think not when this hip hop's like proper. Rhymes be the proof and when I'm drinking 90 proof on vodka. No OJ, no straw. You're gonna give it to me, yeah, give it to me raw. I've learned that when you drink absolute straight, it burns enough to give my chest hairs a perm. I don't need no chemical blow to pull a hole in if it's all I need's a chemical mo to pay the monkeys. If it's real son, if it's a really real son, let me know it's real son. If it's really real, something I can feel son, loaded up and kill one. Want a raw deal son, if it's really real. Something I can kill son, loaded up and kill one. Want a raw deal son, if it's really real. Something I can feel son, loaded up and kill one. Want a raw deal son, if it's really real. I came to bring the pain. 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 Thank you very much.
There's Patrick Gavigan in a cover of Method Man, Bring the Pain. And maybe you caught that Toddcast podcast. Cheap Thrills 13. I guess, geez, that was probably about a year and a half ago now. Amazing night. And you should keep an eye out for Patrick's Facebook page. He's been doing a lot of the live streaming things online right now for his fans and fans of his band Best Night Ever. Pretty cool to hear and see that stuff. I played you a band called the Boom Booms. Their song was Lord, I'm Ready. And what a shame that these guys packed it in. Was it last year? Or was it a year before that now? It's a while back. Here's a Vancouver band that wins Best Indie Band over and over and over in the local rags. People love this band, but the grind came to a halt for the boys. Tom from the band is fronting his project, Small Town Artillery, who are an equally cool band. Got a great little horn section in that one. Infectious live. Actually, we'll play something from Small Town Artillery in just a little bit here. Speaking of good live bands, normally you can find info for all of our shows and a lot more with the indie scene at toddhancock.ca. Everyone dying to get back at it. It's tough to not be able to get out and check out our scene, support our local bands. The indie scene of the podcast is brought to you by Mystic Rhythms Rehearsal Studios. 40 plus years experience in the music industry. If you need a jam space, look no further. Find more through mysticrhythms.ca. Coming up later on in the podcast, in Listen to This, Canadian soccer Olympian Lauren Sesselman talks about winning Olympic bronze and what still stands out from that day. That is powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, RV repair and service, ICBC accredited. Find them through Tedco RV Supplies Inc. .com. First, let's get to the second of three Toddcast guests this week. Our sporting guest, American pro boxer Marlen Esparza. Brought to you by Block E Media. Grow your business online, social media marketing, digital advertising, and a lot more. Keep up with them through blockemedia.com. Now, in May 2012, Marlen Esparza qualified to compete at the 2012 Olympics and became the first American woman to qualify for the Olympics in the first year that women's boxing was an Olympic event. In that year, she won the bronze medal at the London Olympics. Marlen's been boxing since a little kid and talks about that in the full conversation. She has an endorsement deal with CoverGirl Cosmetics. She's appeared in a Spanish TV commercial for Coca-Cola. That's big. She's worked with PETA, posed in ads to speak out against animal abuse. Maybe you've seen her in the CNN documentary In Her Corner, Latino in America 2. She was the subject of that documentary. She's been the subject of an extensive profile in the June 2012 issue of The Atlantic. Marlen was voted the Houston Fighter of the Year in 2010, 2011, 12, 13, and 14. In 2017, she signed a multi-year deal with Golden Boy, and believe me, she is pumped about that. And as mentioned off the top, COVID-19 has directly affected Marlen's life. Her latest fight has been postponed, and hopefully that will be rescheduled sooner than later, and she can get back to what she's best at doing, boxing. The full conversation, definitely worth hearing. A simple search of Toddcast Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Till you hear that, here's 10 minutes with pro boxer Marlen Esparza.
The Toddcast Podcast.
The virus directly affected your life. Your latest fight was supposed to be a couple of weeks back now. How frustrating is that? And what happened to that fight?
Yeah, it was. It just got postponed, so it's up to my promoter to let me know exactly when they're going to reschedule everyone's fight, because my show wasn't the only show canceled. So obviously they're going to have to put people in line and kind of prioritize about who's fighting when, because they have a lot of fights to make up for. But it was really frustrating. I was really frustrated because I was only 7 days away from my fight.
Right.
So in 7 days is like nothing for fight time. So I was like, man, I wish it could just happen like the day after I fought. You know, like I can be okay if I could just get this fight over with, because I had already done all the hard part. Like all the hard work was done. I was done. Mm-hmm. And then they were just. I was really upset though. I haven't cried over boxing like that in a long time. Oh. I was really upset about it. Yeah.
Like how long would that take for you to get ready for that fight? How many months would you be working for that goal?
It's usually people take about 2 months.
Right.
But I took a little bit longer for this past fight because I switched trainers after my fight in November.
Oh.
So there was like a lot of adjustments made and, communication. So it was not as hard on the body, but it was a lot hard on my mentality. So we had a lot of preparation going into it, and we were already right there at the peak, and it was a frustrating situation.
Yeah, totally. That must be tricky to move to a different trainer.
Yeah, especially in my situation. I usually stick to what I know, and that's just me and my personality. So any boxer, their personality usually comes out with like how they operate in the gym and stuff. But I'm very like, this is like, if I have a restaurant, I eat the same plate. Like I'm a vanilla, pepperoni, like I have my dishes. I don't go out from the norm of what I know.
Right.
And that's the same thing with my trainers. So I've been with the trainer that I've had him since I was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I when I left the state, I was still keeping contact with him. So he was still like my side trainer. So I never really, fell out with him. And then when I came back to Houston, I was still working with him. And then I officially switched my primary trainer after almost 20 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a difficult switch, but the trainer that I have now, I feel like has a lot more knowledge for what I'm trying to do. So I was happy with it. It was awkward at the beginning.
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally. And when did boxing first grab you? You were mentioning 11 years old. Was it at 11 years old when you kind of were like, whoa, okay, boxing?
Yeah, I started boxing when I was 10, but I would say 11 because that's when I started fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird. Now that I'm older, I have to think about it. When I was like 16, it was like, oh, okay, kind of barely started still. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm like 30, it's like, yeah, how did you do that, or what was going on in your head? And I think about it a lot. Like, what was wrong with you? But it was more of like, so my dad grew up around boxing. He liked it a lot. He tried it, but he never fought.
Okay.
And he liked soccer. Hispanic. He's from Juarez, from Mexico. So he liked soccer and boxing. And my dad used to work out of town a lot. So when he was home, I would be stuck to his side. Very much a daddy's girl, still am. And I would watch boxing with him all the time, and I just didn't realize that it was only guys. And it was something that I wanted to try. And when I tried it, I think I liked it a lot more than I was ready for. Right. I knew it was something I wanted to try, but I didn't. Yeah, there was a lot of things that I wanted to try, but I don't really care for them too much. And I just got really lucky, I think, that I found something that I care about so much so early. And I think that's kind of why I've done, okay for myself in the boxing world.
Right. So that's your first boxing memory, is watching with your dad as a little kid.
Yeah, and then he used to so he wanted my brothers to box, and my little brother's 2 years younger than me, and he would always my dad would bring his friends over from work, and if they had kids, he would bring them, or boys, and he would make my brother fight, like his kids' friends.
Yeah.
And they would put the gloves on and they would fight. And then because I was always with my dad, like they let me do it too. And I used to like beat up the boys a lot. So I liked it already, but when I actually started to learn, it was different. And that's what I remember. I remember like having to like fight in the living room with my dad's friends' kids, and I remember watching it a lot. And it was very much in my life for sure.
I was just going to say, it sounds like it's been in your life your whole time. Were you surprised at the outcome of the Fury Wilder 2?
I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
Oh.
No, I wasn't. I was trying to explain to people the kind of like the longevity of it, because I mean, Tyson, to me, going into it, Tyson, the first time wasn't really his full self. And because he struggled with depression and all that, I think people don't understand how much it affects you, like for sports or for boxing especially.
Right.
So when he was recovering from everything that he went through, like he still wasn't his full self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he still won the majority of the rounds before, losing the fight. Or not losing it, but the draw.
Yeah, well, people take it as a loss, but with the draw, because in my head it's like, well, if he didn't win, he lost because he was the challenger. But
sure,
it was more of, to me it was just like, it was I didn't think that anybody had seen everything that he could do, and he's so big, and everybody in their minds, because Wilder hits hard, they just think Wilder's bigger. But if people who know boxing and really pay attention, like Fury was so much bigger than Wilder. So I think a lot of things got misconstrued, because you have people who like boxing but they don't pay attention to the details, and then you have the people who are sports analysts or whatever, and they kind of say that they don't know. But I think a lot of the sports analysts just don't want to be wrong if they bet on something or say something repeatedly.
Yeah, right.
So they kind of try to play the fence with it, because they're like, well, I'll look dumb if I'm wrong. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into people kind of wondering what's going to happen. But I didn't think Tyson had really that big of a chance to lose, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and a lot of people were questioning why he was putting on the weight that he was. And, I mean, he looked good.
He's a big boy. He needs to use it, and he can move,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I thought he did. And he did better than I thought he was going to do. I knew he was going to do well, but he, like, murdered it the entire time. So
yeah.
I was like, well.
Yeah. Are you into any other sports? Do you watch the MMA fights, the UFC and Bellator and all that?
It's funny. No, I'm not. Everybody asks me that. I don't know anything about any sports. It's funny because there was my trainer trains a lot of, for strength and conditioning, trains a lot of, like, NFL players or basketball players and even some boxers. And I don't know, like, there'll be really famous people that walk into the gym and I have no idea, like, who they are. Everyone's like, how could you not know this? I'm like, I don't watch anything. They're like, how can you're an athlete and you have no idea who this is? And I'm like, nope. So I really don't know anything about anything besides boxing.
Fair enough. All right, Marlen, let's get outside of boxing for a sec here, and of course what you're known for. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on legalized marijuana? It's been in Canada for about a year and a half. A lot of impact sports will use the CBD oils to recover from fights or from football injuries or whatever. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on CBD aren't bad. It's the THC that makes, like, the hallucinogenic that makes me kind of like, because I feel like if it does kind of alter how you see things or how you do things, then it could probably, regardless if it has long-term health effects, it is some way or another gonna, change your life.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that you would choose to do while smoking that you wouldn't do. The same thing like with drinking. Same thing with like a cup of coffee. Like if anything kind of alters what you would normally do, I would say that, and well, I mean, I don't want to get up in the morning sometimes, but then my son is super hyper. And then sometimes I'll drink a cup of coffee and I'm like, okay, well, we'll do this. But it's more of, I just feel like take on marijuana like if you need it, if you feel like there's some people who do use it for medical purposes and pain or, trying to get an appetite, or I feel like those things are okay. But I feel like if you're just trying to escape, then maybe you should try to escape a different way.
Sporting guests of the Toddcast podcast are brought to you by Block E Media Inc. Digital marketing plans and solutions. Done for you and done with you. Online at blockemedia.com.
When I look out at the world, I want to paint it with my picture, want to shine light through the cracks. And I hunt in the night for my truth, chasing echoes down great canyons while the vultures stalk my youth. When I call for love, it will come to me for certain, but not always in the way I ask. So I carry on my way to find the bright side in the future. Yeah, we're honoring yesterday. Ooh, and when I look in your eyes, I see the filth I fight to hide untied. I'm riding out to meet her. Only the lonely man does it wrong. We need a lover and we need a song. Our luck is gone. Where is the door around here? 'Cause I got to level up my spirit, yeah, until my vision clears. Layers and layers deep, and every threshold leaves me breathless, always restless in my sleep. And I see the young mother trying so hard. I see the man on his lawn like a guard. I see the dog in your eyes that would eat me alive. And I remind you that love's on your side. Canadian flag in the colors of blood. The other half white like a bad joke, The other half white like a bad joke, The other half white like a bad joke. Ooh, and when I look in your eyes, I see the filth I fight to hide untied. Yeah. I'm riding out to meet her.
And now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
Despite being born in Marshfield, Wisconsin, Lauren Sesselman played for the Canadian national soccer team. She got her Canadian citizenship in 2010 through her dad, who is a Canadian. You'll remember that Lauren helped Canada win an Olympic bronze in the 2012 London Games. She played in all 6 matches, 2 at left back, 4 at center back. She represented Canada in the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup, which was the last time she would play for Team Canada. Pretty inspiring conversation. Since we spoke, Lauren has been honored by Soccer Canada. That was back in June 2017. She's a trainer, the producer and host of the fitness DVD Fit as a Pro, and is currently playing for the Santa Clara Blue Heat. And when Lauren called up to be a guest, we talked about first concerts and seeing Rascal Flatts. She grew up in Green Bay and she's a bit of a cheesehead. We talked about Hope Solo getting her contract terminated. She shared a near-death experience story. Talked about binge watching Stranger Things and You. She talked about watching the Rio 2016 Summer Olympics. And Lauren shared what still stands out in her mind from the day that she won Olympic bronze at the 2012 London Games. Listen to this.
Gosh, I can remember almost like everything in those games. You know, the semifinal game and then the bronze medal game. For me personally, you know, just getting that feel at the end that we will not fall down the sideline and that's our time to goal. So for me personally, on a personal, that was something I really remember because that just makes me feel really good. But then also just the fight and the grit that our team had. Just to, you know, France is a phenomenal team. You know, they're one of the best teams in the world. So, you know, they really put up a really great fight, and it was down to the wire in that game. But just the fact that our team never gave up, and, you know, we just fought till the end. I mean, literally the end. So.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC approved repair shop. Find them online at tedcorvsuppliesinc.com.
That band is Dead Quiet, and that one is called Foul Words, one of my favorite Vancouver bands, regardless of the genre. An absolutely punishing live band. If you get a chance to see these guys, make the effort. Played you Small Town Artillery, and their song was Only the Lonely, another jewel in our crown. As mentioned, a fantastic live band and a great group of guys as well, shining a bright light on our city with their music. All right, Todd's Trolls is coming up in just a bit. The stupid, mean, hurtful, but really the funny things that people say to what you post, what you see online. This week, Danzig, World Snooker Championships, and Bad Trip share that spotlight. It's powered by our buddies at Good Times Gin and Tonics, putting the GTs back in the G&T. Find them at goodtimesdrinks.com. Trolls is coming up after our final guest of episode 222. This week's entertainment and lifestyle guest is medical doctor and best-selling author Dr. Brooke Goldner. A really interesting conversation with her. She talks about writing 3 best-selling books. Imagine that. Goodbye Lupus, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, and green smoothie recipes to kickstart your health and healing. You've seen her in documentaries like Eating You Alive, Whitewashed, and The Conspiracy Against Your Health. Dr. Goldner has been on the cover of Vegan Health and Fitness magazine 3 times. She's been on the cover of Fit Over 40 as well. She's a regular contributor to T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies, and she's featured in the Journal of Disease Reversal. Dr. Goldner is known worldwide for developing a nutrition-based treatment for her own autoimmune disease, lupus. You will be blown away by the talk. It is now posted at our iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud pages. A search of Toddcast Podcast. Till then, here's 10 minutes with medical doctor and best-selling author, Dr. Brooke Goldner.
The Toddcast Podcast.
I'd read that you had a pretty heavy diagnosis when you were just 16 years old.
That's correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So far long ago, before I was ever a doctor, I was a patient. Yes. So at 16 years old, I was diagnosed with a disease called lupus. And at the time, I was dealing with bad arthritis all throughout my body. I had rash on my face. I was getting migraines that were so bad I'd be in bed vomiting for a week. Really feeling terribly sick. Finally, they figured out that I had lupus, and at the same time they figured out I had lupus, they told me I was also in stage 4 kidney failure. And if I didn't do very powerful interventions with medication, that I would probably end up either dead or on dialysis within 6 months.
Wow.
So it went from aches and pains and rashes to life and death very quickly. And it was a very intense period of my life, to say the least. What they ended up doing is using an experimental treatment at the time, which was using chemotherapy, which you normally use for cancer, right? But the side effect of chemotherapy is that it suppresses your immune system, and it's why a lot of people with cancer end up dying from infections is because of that. And they thought, well, lupus is autoimmune. It's when your immune system's attacking your own body. So what if we use the side effect of chemotherapy to shut off the immune system and save the person? And so I was one of the first people to do that. Nowadays, what they do, they give people maybe a month or 2 of treatment. I had it for 2 years straight.
Wow.
So from 16 to 18 years old, I was on high-dose steroids and 6 other types of pills and getting IV chemotherapy once a month on top of that, just to try to survive. And after 2 full years, finally, my kidneys went into remission. It was not fully recovered. I still had protein loss in my urine. I was told I'd have that forever. I still had lupus. I mean, my blood test all showed I had lupus, but I was considered in remission, which for lupus just means you're not currently dying, you're stable. And I was able to maintain that with oral medication after that and stop the chemotherapy. But from 16 to 18, while other people were just kind of trying to figure out who was the cutest kid in their class, I was trying to figure out how to study for my exams in between chemotherapy so that I could still graduate in the top 10 of my class and go to college, because that wasn't an option growing up. It was, you're going to graduate, you're going to live and do all these wonderful things with your life. This is just something you need to overcome. And I really appreciate my family so much for that they just never let the illness define me. It was just, one other thing you got to do. You got to brush your teeth, you got to take your pills, and you got to study for your tests. And, it was, but it was very intense. It was very intense. And I did. I graduated top of my class. I got a scholarship to Carnegie Mellon. and continued living my life. And actually, the last chemotherapy I had was a week before I left for college. And so that was kind of how I lived my life, was knowing, okay, I have this thing I have to deal with. I was told I could never have children. I knew that I would probably become disabled at some point because of the arthritis. But I figured, nobody knows how long they have in this world. But I happen to have the advantage that I know that I've got a limited time here. So I just wanted to make it count. I wanted to do a lot of service. I wanted to make a difference. And I thought becoming a doctor would be the way to do that. So I took my pills. I learned how to make sure I got enough sleep and kept my stress low so that I could minimize how much painkillers I need for the arthritis. And I did it. I did genetic research for years at Carnegie Mellon. I got in medical school. Medical school did make me sick. You're supposed to avoid stress and get enough sleep, and medical school is not the place to do that. But I actually started getting mini strokes in medical school.
Wow.
Collapsed in one of the clinics. Thankfully, a mini stroke means that while I did get blood clots going into my brain, they were able to dissolve and not cause permanent damage. And that was kind of how I thought I was going to live my life, was, okay, now I need to take injections every day to keep my blood thin, but I'm still alive, I'm still here, I'm still going to be a doctor, and I still was happy and grateful for my life. And that's how I thought I was going to do this. I figured even if I'm disabled, I can still practice medicine, I can still do this. But then when I was in my intern year of intern year of residency, I changed my diet, mostly because I met an amazing man who wanted to marry me and take care of me even though I was sick. And I changed my diet dramatically. And not only did I lose weight like I wanted to, but I also completely reversed my disease, where for the first time after 12 years being sick, my disease disappeared. My labs were normal. I had no arthritis, no aches and pains. And that was 15 years ago. And here I am today, still disease-free. I've had 2 beautiful children. Instead of being disabled, I was on the cover of a fitness magazine last year. I mean, life has turned. So now that's what I dedicate my life to, is helping people understand the power that their own cells have to fix themselves, that our cells are programmed to heal, that healing is literally in our DNA. We just need to provide the cells with the right nutrients, and they do the job for us.
Right.
So that's what I do now. I give away my protocols for free online. I do live Q&As for free for hours and hours every month, just trying to empower the public to get their health back.
As a doctor, how concerned are you about the coronavirus?
Oh, the coronavirus. Well, I am concerned right now about how contagious it is, because nobody has immunity. It's a new one. And on the one hand, I'm not too worried about myself or my kids or anything like that, because we have really strong immunity. And for people who are otherwise healthy, it's just going to be, if you get it, it'll be a flu. And for some people, just a mild flu. So for most people, probably 70% or more, it won't be a big deal. The problem is the vulnerable people in our society, the elderly, the immunocompromised, people with chronic illness. Yeah, I just read something yesterday that the people most at risk are people with illnesses like high blood pressure or heart disease. I'm like, okay, so that's everyone. But
right.
I mean, that's the number one killer in America is heart disease.
Heart disease, yeah.
So there are people who are vulnerable. So even with those of us that are going to not get that sick, we need to protect ourselves, because if we get that virus, we could pass it to someone who's vulnerable. So right now I'm saying don't panic, but protect. I had to cancel. I've never canceled an event. I will travel and I will teach happily. But I had an event coming up in Tucson in a couple weeks, and I had to cancel my trip. And actually, after I canceled, they ended up canceling the conference, because it does not make sense now to get on a plane and to have hundreds of people gather in one spot when we've got this kind of virus. So I don't think people should panic, but I do think we need to be smart. We need to make sure we're doing heavy hand washing. We are not going out into big public situations. This is a time to not fly if you don't need to, and just be careful. But it's not that we need to panic. I don't think that, we're going to have mass deaths. It's just going to be that it's something that we need to be careful about until people have built up some immunity, or maybe we get a vaccine, or until it passes through, because it's going to take a few months to run its cycle.
Dr. Goldner, I'd love to get outside of health and nutrition and everything else that you're known for, if that's cool with you.
Yep.
What was your first concert that you attended?
Pink Floyd Division Bell.
Pink Floyd. Wow. What a bar to set.
Yeah, and actually it was with my dad, and my dad had gotten tickets through his business at the time, and I was so excited. And it was funny because the one song I really wanted to hear was to hear them sing The Wall, and my dad, finally hit midnight, and it was a school night. My dad was like, we gotta go. And right as we walked into the parking lot, they started singing it, and he let me sit in the parking lot and listen to it. And then got me my tie-dye T-shirt, which I wore all the way through. Gosh, that T-shirt I wore till it had holes in it in my 20s. But the funniest part was the next day I did go to school, but I was a bit late. And when I handed them my note, the person that took my note said, next time you want to pretend you're sick in the morning, don't wear your concert T-shirt to school.
Oh, that's so good. Love it. I love it. When you find the time, because you're obviously super busy, what are you binge watching when you find time?
Oh, goodness. So I usually only will watch one thing at a time because I have enough time for like one episode of something before I go to bed at night. And my husband and I, that's something we do together. So we just finished The Hunters on Amazon Prime, which was super intense. Do you know that one?
No, I don't know it. What is it about?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so The Hunters is it's with Al Pacino, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it is a show. It's a series about after World War II. It's in the 70s that a lot of the Jews immigrated to New York, including my family.
Yes,
but that also Nazis came and hid in New York as well, and these Jews that are Holocaust survivors discover the Nazis, like in their supermarkets and things like that, and they form a band of hunters to go out and kill the Nazis. It's very intense. I mean, for me especially, I just went on a recent trip to Poland and went to Auschwitz and saw where my family was killed. And so it was very stressful to watch, but the acting was amazing. I mean, Al Pacino turned into an old Polish Jew. I mean, the accent, everything, he became this little Jewish man. It was the acting is absolutely incredible. So we binge watched that. We love usually anything that's mostly science fiction related, but that show, that really blew our minds. I mean, we just sat there with our mouths open for it. But it's one of those things where, your heart's racing the whole time. But the acting was unreal.
Boy, he's one of the best. It doesn't matter what genre that he's doing. He's just amazing.
Yes. This was the best I've ever seen him.
The Toddcast Podcast. Follow on Instagram and Twitter at Toddcast Podcast.
Pulls
The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca.
A look at this week's keyboard warriors, Todd's Trolls, on the Toddcast podcast.
You ever notice how tough some people are sitting behind the keyboard? It doesn't matter what it is. No one and nothing is safe from the online chirping. Not even the mighty Danzig is immune. They just released a new covers album this past Friday on April 17th. It's called Danzig Sings Elvis.
Danzig couldn't sing his way out of a wet paper bag. No offense, of course. New drinking game. Every time you cringe at how shitty this album is, drink. Right about now, Elvis is rolling in his grave.
The World Snooker Championships were supposed to be in full swing right now through May 4th in Sheffield, England, but that's now been postponed. They're hoping to reschedule for August or September.
Seriously, how high do you have to be to want to watch snooker on TV? Postpone till August or September, eh? The smart call would be to postpone snooker indefinitely. I'm not kidding. I'd rather have a root canal than watch this.
And the new movie Bad Trip was supposed to be released to theaters this weekend. Instead, it will hit streaming services. It's basically a cross-Canada road trip filled with pranks that you would see in Jackass. It stars Jeff Tremaine, Tiffany Haddish, and a bunch of other people I've never heard of.
I'm sorry, but Tiffany Haddish, not funny. I just don't get the appeal. Movies like this bug me. The premise is so wait for the joke, and then it's lame AF. Honestly, there's more of a chance of me becoming prime minister than me making it halfway through this movie.
Todd's Trolls on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Good Times Gin and Tonics, putting the GTs back in the GNT. Check out goodtimesdrinks.com.
Now for a California
Those guys are Waingro and an absolutely pummeling song from them called Desert Sun. We talked to the guys last year about playing a podcast show, and there was interest on their end. I think it's just kind of going to be a matter of time before that happens, not to be presumptuous, but man, I dig that band. Killer players, great songs. You heard a band called Crankshaft as well. Their song was Dark Side, and you should be hearing new music from them this year. They were just in Vegas recording with Kane Churko. Amazing collaboration between one of our hard rock heavyweights and just a killer producer. I think you'll see Crankshaft having a big year in 2021. I think the coronavirus has effectively stalled anything in the live music scene, so chances are it'll be next year before bands can really start firing on all cylinders again. Looking forward to next week. If you, like me, are having a Nick fit to see the live shows, you will hear from 12 guests as they share stories about their first concerts. Mine was in 1981, Dr. Hook, Kitimat Arena. And that was an absolute mind blower because my mom used to play them all the time. So my 8-year-old mind was literally blown away. As soon as they started playing the cover of the Rolling Stone, I mean, I was hooked. So you can look forward to 12 guests next week as they all share their first concert experiences. Of course, I wanted to give a big thanks to this week's guests as well. David Gogo, great to talk. Thank you for jumping on. Next time you're in Vancouver, assuming that this is after the COVID-19 pandemic, let's grab a beer, man. Let's have a hang. Boxer Marlen Esparza, thank you for being a guest as well, and good luck with your next fight, whenever that is. Of course, we'll be rooting for you. And Dr. Goldner, great to talk to you as well. Love your story. You're super inspiring. Thank you for taking out some time to join us. And that is going to do it for this episode 222. My name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening. Please tell your friends, subscribe on iTunes and Spotify, SoundCloud as well, and helping out another radio brother carve out a niche. Happy to be part of this. You can find us on the Dean Blundell Podcast Network at deanblundell.com. He's a beauty, by the way, worth listening to as well. Please comment and rate our podcast. It does help raise the profile online. Search it out through Toddcast Podcast. A huge thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors through this crazy time that we are living in. You can find links to all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, you can for as little as $10 a day. And the coronavirus has made it so there's a few openings right now, something that hasn't happened in almost 3 years. So don't be shy. Hit me up. Let's see what we can do together. We hit over 1 million impressions daily online, not to brag, through the Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram feeds. There's contact info at the homepage. Maybe we'll talk soon. Till next week, don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be around that. Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself.
The Toddcast Podcast. Keep in touch with Todd through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and bookmark toddhancock.ca.
You've watched them from the outside your whole life. On TV, on stage, on the cover. The success that always looks like it happened to someone on a different planet. But what if it didn't? I'm Evelyn, and I've spent over 25 years in entertainment, producing for some of the biggest names in Hollywood. And here's what I learned. The distance between you and them, it's a lot shorter than anyone's letting on. On my podcast, Reppin', I sit down with the people you've been watching, and I ask them who they actually are. Not the brand, the person. Where they started, what it cost them, what almost broke them. Their grit, their courage, their resilience, and the lessons they've learned, it's all yours for the taking. Reppin', wherever you listen.
Do you ever watch a TV show set in a historical time period and think, how accurate is this really? But also, does it matter if it's accurate or not?
Nefer TV is a new podcast about shows set in ancient times. This season, we're recapping every episode of the show Spartacus, Blood and Sand.
I'm Ann Foster, and I have never seen this show before.
And I'm Gina Berry, and I have watched this show maybe too many times.
Join us every other Monday on the Nefer TV podcast as we discuss the real history behind Spartacus, Blood and Sand.
Follow Nefer TV, that's Nefer TV, wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.